I hope everybody is doing well. I just realized I didn't do my countdown that I normally do. Oh well, what can I say? It's been a long day. I think we all have some of those days sometimes where we're just kind of not operating with all cylinders going, so to speak. Tonight, I am very fortunate that I do have a special guest with me. His name is Brian, and he is part of Zeus's Bounty. I have covered Zeus's Bounty on my channel before. It is a cryptocurrency multi-level marketing opportunity. I'm doing air quotes here. And he's here tonight to tell us his story. If you're not familiar with Zeus's Bounty, well, then you're about to get schooled on it. Hey, Brian, thank you so much for being here. Welcome.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
It's always good to, hear these stories straight from the people who are involved in it. Hey, Angel, how are you doing? Hope you're doing well. And Brian did put together a PowerPoint deck, so we have visuals for all of this. So, do you want to like give a little backstory, or do you want me to put up the visuals, or how would you like to do this, Brian?
Yeah. If you want to, you can just go ahead and show the visuals. Yeah, I could see it too.
Okay,
And
cool.
so yeah, I just I put together some slides and this has a lot of information about my journey with Zeus and how I found out that it's a scam and I also have some emails and different material that the founder of Zeus or the overall person Zeus one that is Tim that has actually I got screenshots. I've got a lot of information, and so I want the audience to understand. I'm not making it up, and so that's why I wanted to put this presentation together so that it actually shows evidence of what I'm talking about.
Perfect. Do you want
So
me to go to the next slide?
let's go to the next slide. And so, and I know that we've had, I think you've done three shows so far, right, about Zeus. I know I've seen three of them, and so that was really, how I reached out to you was, being part of Zeus and, kind of having my disillusionment with it, and then seeing what you had spoke about. That's kind of why I reached out to you, and so, I'm just thankful for this opportunity.
No, you are so welcome.
So, yeah, I mean, it won't take too long to go through the slides, but, first thing I wanted to talk about is, why I joined Zeus Bounty. Everyone, when they get involved in these MLMs, I think for the most part, it's probably from friends and family, friends or family that recruited you. And so in my case, that's what happened. So my nephew was part of Zeus Bounty at the beginning. Came to me, talked about it, saying, "Hey, this is a great opportunity. I've never really been involved in MLM. The closest I've been was probably, when I was 20 years old and had people trying to get me into Amway, and I never, never, uh, did much with Amway. But anyway, this was part of he was excited about it, and I thought, well, it might be something that I could do with him, and then I heard Tim's presentation and thought it was pretty cool. This was back in November, and so what was proposed then. So now the three different presentations that are, I guess, webinars that you've presented was really for new members. So this was back when he was looking for founders, and so
Okay, so there's
I
there's founders
yeah.
and co-founders. Can you tell me what is the difference between a founder and a co-founder?
Sure. And so A founder, so when Tim set this up, he said we'll have 100 founders, and then they put up $199 a piece. And then he said we're going to also have 150 co-founders. And they actually, and that's what I am. So I'm a co-founder. I'm still part of Zeus Bounty because I don't even know how to get out of it. That's what's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, I have no idea how to get out of it. There's not a way to just get out of it. And so I'm a co-founder, and then, my nephew is a founder, and he kind of feels the same way as I do about it. That it's been a disappointment, been a scam, and so I guess what brought me to say, hey, I'm willing to invest in this is, Tim had the message of, hey, I'm this honest Christian guy. I've been scammed in the past. I've had the rug pulled, and I don't want that to happen. And so that's why I started Zeus Bounty. That's what he said. And then he started talking about how, this could be a life changer, and how, this could really replace your income and all that. And, maybe, my thought was, well, yeah, if I could maybe get a side income from this, that might be pretty cool. But, he was talking about, hey, this could just change your life, be a replacement income.
They all say that, That's
Yeah.
always changing the world and replacing your income.
Yeah, exactly.
What exactly is the difference between being a founder and being a co-founder, other than one paid one amount and
Yeah,
another one paid a different amount? How are they different?
right. Sure. If you go the next slide, that kind of points out a little bit. So, and this is a section of what I was told by
Okay.
him. And so the 100 founders was told, okay, they'd get 14% of the revenue made from Zeus. And so the 150 co-founders would get 10.5% of the revenue. So basically 14% divided by 100, and then 10.5% divided by 150. And so, the founders, so there's 250 total founders and co-founders. And we were also told we were co-owners or part owners of this. And that's obviously not true, because Bryonic Enterprises, or whatever his company is, that's in his wife's name, is what Zeus Bounty is owned by.
Right.
So on here, and then what I was told was that you could, so when you join Zeus, you join with the BNB, which is this cryptocurrency that's Binance. It's a Binance coin. And so Binance is one of these big exchanges. And so, originally they were there to allow people to buy all types of cryptocurrency and sell it, kind of like Coinbase and some of those. But then they saw the opportunity to create their own coin. And so when you hear BNB, all that is a Binance coin. And so basically, instead of dollars, we were told to invest in BNB, so cryptocurrency. And so
Gotcha.
you could do 0.1 BNB at the time. That was about $60. And then you could go all the way up to 10 if you wanted to as your starting point, which would be like $6,000 at the time.
Wow.
And yeah, and one BNB was what they called the sweet spot. So basically you would, that would at the time was like $600. And so that was the recommendation, that you go in at $600. And then what you would get, which I listed there, was, the lifetime commission. So they kept on talking about passive income. And then they were talking about that, hey, you don't need to do any recruiting because you'll get an immediate downline and upline. And then, then they realized that, hey, this is a Ponzi scheme. They even would bring that up in some of the meetings and calls and saying, we have to be able to show that there's some sort of value. So that's when they brought Raj in to develop a suite of software.
Okay.
And then, what was told to us, which didn't happen, was that each of us would get 100 direct referrals that would come in through Zeus's $50,000 a month advertising budget. And then you would get 20% of any B&B contribution made by a direct referral. And that never happened. He hasn't spent any money that I know of on advertising. In fact, he's, if you wanted to find leads, he would sell you leads. He'd sell you 25 leads for $37.
Where did he get these leads from?
He got it from, so these were leads that he bought from, I can't remember the name of the company, but basically it was, there were these work from home type things. So like at the mall and different places, they'd have booths say, hey, do you want to work from home? Are you looking for side income? That type of thing. And so this company would collect people's information. And then my understanding is that Tim bought 1,000 of those leads, and then he resold them to each of the members that wanted to buy them.
Isn't that nice of him?
Yeah, and I didn't get any. No one joined from the leads. They're very cold leads, to be honest. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's
People
go to the
didn't
next
even know
slide.
who I was when I called them. Yeah. Let's go to the next slide. And so, and this kind of continues the same theme. And so, no need to recruit. And then what we were told was there's going to be these big whales that would be coming in. And apparently, whales is some sort of cryptocurrency term that means people with money, I guess.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's an MLM thing. I don't
No,
know.
I think it's a crypto thing because I had not heard of it until I started looking into this, and I'm like, what the hell's a whale?
Yeah. Yeah, and they're saying, hey, they'll be coming in and trading 10 B&B plus a day. And so why would someone do that? They could, so at the time, spend $600 a day and then give half of the B&B back to Tim. So you've already lost 50% of your investment when you submit it to Zeus. And so we haven't gotten any whales in Zeus Bounty. And, and he had some pretty aggressive numbers. So he was talking about, hey, day one, we'll have 5,000 people in Zeus. And then after a month, 25,000, and then, 100,000 people plus after the first year.
Gotcha.
And, I think we're like 3,800 at the end of February. So after the second month, we're only got 3,800, and in fact, it's really
So where are all
slowed
these
down.
people coming from?
Yes, that's a good question. And so most of them were from founders that recruited their friends and
Okay.
family, and so they would get their, we have a lot of international people in this, and a lot of people specifically from the Philippines. and apparently the Philippines, they're really big into gaming with
Uh-huh.
crypto. And anyway, one of the guys was a flight attendant and with one of the Filipino airlines and recruited, a couple of hundred people, but he actually recruited like 40 founders. And to get them in, I felt kind of bad for him, but he actually would, on many of them, he actually paid for them to join as founders out of his own pocket.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's just nuts to me. And, he was really engaged at the beginning. I haven't heard much from him the last month or two, since it started. But yeah, and that's what's happened. A lot of people would either pay for the B&B for their recruits, or, in the case of founders and co-founders, they would actually pay the fee for them. It's just kind of a weird situation, I thought.
Well, I mean, in
And
some ways, on
yeah,
passive is doing that same thing. So, you know,
yeah, yeah. I think that, especially like in the Philippines, where I was reading that the average income is something like 4,000 a year.
yeah,
So, they're not going to have the type of money typically to get into something like this. But he worked for he's kind of paid in American wages, and so yeah, he spent a lot of money on getting his downline. And so the smart contract, I was also told, hey, it's owned by nobody but Zeus itself. And the whole smart contract thing, it's kind of a misnomer. A smart contract, all that is a digital application built on the Ethereum, the Ethereum coin,
uh-huh, uh-huh.
built on their network. And so they just happen to call that, or like the Binance network. So it's just a digital app, and they just use the term smart contract. It's not really any sort of like what I'd call a legal contract. It's more of
Okay,
a kind of an IT thing. And so, we're told that it was an audited contract, nobody could take money out of it, and that
right.
all the B&B would go back to the members except for a 7% admin fee to run the program. And you'll see in other slides that none of that was true.
There's a lot of different fees. I know when I've looked at this, there was always another fee.
Yes. Yes, definitely. And in the next slide, and I'm sorry, this one's not, doesn't show up too well, but the only point I wanted to make on that was just to show you that if you look kind of halfway down on that slide on the left, or on the screenshot on the left, that co-founder spots are $299, and it says that alone will lock you in the position in the founder's bonus pool. Again, 7% of the company's revenue. And so that's what they said it was for, the company's revenue. And so that so originally, just to clear this up, you remember I said 10.5% was going to
Right.
co-founders. What happened is that originally it was only going to be 100 co-founders, and they would get 7%. And then he said we need to add an additional 50 co-founders. And so what that meant was that he had to, or he didn't have to, but he raised the amount to 10.5% from 7.
Well, so did he say why he had to add those extra 50?
Well, he just, because he got paid. So I
Yeah,
mean,
well,
between
yeah,
founders and co-founders, he got about $60,000 before Zeus even started.
okay.
That was the fees that just for founders and co-founders, and it was a way to, I guess our thought at the time was that was to pay for the development of the, this smart contract thing.
Right. Are you ready for me to
And
go to the next slide?
yeah, let's go the next slide. And I think this is and this is one of the most important slides that I wanted to show. And so, whenever you in all three of the webinars, you see this, you see that on the left, you see that dashboard, and I wanted to explain what that meant because I don't think people understand that. And so basically, like I said, and this was just like a day or so ago, there's 4,811 members, and then they contributed 2687 BNB. So what I'm showing here is at the time, like I said, it was like $600 at the time, but now it's like 350. So I averaged it out at 450. And
Okay.
so the average member contributed a little over half a BNB, or about $250. And then you see the total BNB contributed, but then below that, you see total bounty reaped.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
money goes into Zeus, then Zeus pays it back out to all of its members. And this is when I realized it was a scam because Zeus has given back $454,950, and it wasn't,
Dollars,
and
not
actually,
Binance.
right. Well, it's in BNB. I'm sorry,
Okay.
it's in
Yeah. All right.
BNB. Yeah,
That's what.
I converted it to dollars because I don't know if everyone knows the value of BNB and all that. So it's in BNB. It's everything is
Okay.
given back in BNB, and actually that's 4,811 members. I don't know why I put 1,011, but anyway, the average member has received about $95 on average, and they put in $250 on average, and that includes all the people at the top, and then all the people at the bottom that's pretty much gotten anything. So my question is, where's the rest of the BNB that Tim has said that everything goes back to the members except for the 7% admin fee? And so that delta between the total BNB contributed and the total bounty reaped is 1,676 BNB. And so I wanted to know what happened. So I was able to find 532 BNB, and that is in the contract. That's to maintain the Ponzi.
Okay.
You have to keep money to keep it moving, right? You gotta,
Right.
otherwise, if there's not money in that contract, then it collapses. And so there's 532 BNB, but there's 1,144 BNB missing, and so over $500,000 missing in BNB. And what I'm seeing is that there's a lot of, you can't really track where everything's went. It's all went to Tim. I'm 99.9% sure of that. But he uses multiple wallet addresses. So it's really hard to be able to track all that.
Right.
But the reason I have that information on the right is that every contract, every address, that's a BNB wallet address. You can look it up on a website called BSC Scan. So that means Binance Smart Chain Scan, like SCAN. And so
Okay.
if you put in the wallet address, it'll tell you. And so that's the contract's wallet address. And there's only 532 BNB, but he's collected, all of this other B&B, and there's nearly 1,700 B&B missing that had to have just went to Tim, because he's the only person that has control over that contract. If you look, his wallet address is the creator of the contract, and he's the only one that can access that contract itself.
Well, that's a little worrisome. Are you ready for me to go to the next
Yes.
slide?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
And so, and I'll go quickly on this. I know. Just a second, I'm looking here. So anyway, all this was I just wanted to mention how Zeus works, and so it was started. It's pre-launch in October 2021. I think we've already talked about the founders and co-founders, what they could get, and there was an affiliate program, and so co-founders. I was just saying, co-founders paid $100 more than founders because Tim put in place an affiliate program that paid $100 commission to people recruited.
Does that still exist, or did he take that away?
No, that went away because that was only until he filled those 150 slots of co-founders.
Okay.
Yeah. And then that's the original founders presentation. And I wanted to put that there because it's slightly different than, the one that we've seen. But I just had that as reference. And on the next slide, only thing I wanted to show was, that I paid the $299. And then I wanted to point out that it says our founders are really part owners of ZB, which is Zeus's Bounty. Then saying there's no requirement to recruit to earn money, but it's a mutual beneficial act for both of us if you do. And then it says let Zeus help heal your wounds of those past disappointments we've all had.
Wow.
That's in the receipt.
Wow. It's just that's what I got. It's just wow.
Yeah. So it's all, and then on the next slide, what I'm showing there is how, month one, he's saying, I even underestimated it. He said it'd be 20,000 members, should be more. Yeah. And then he's putting all this saying that your portion that you'd make, basically you'd have $250 the first month, and then you'll be having $5,000 months.
Now, dollars or B&B?
Dollars is what he's saying, but it is B&B, but he's using the term dollars and as well.
The currency is B&B. It's never actually dollars because
it's not.
To get dollars, you'd have to withdraw it from the wallet. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Right. And then the thing on the right is just talking about the 10 different levels. Talking about how you get all of these up and down line and all of that.
Yeah, I found that confusing that you get the, some in an up line, some in a down line. Can you tell us how that is supposed to work?
Yeah, so depending on your contribution, if you put in 0.1, you will get 5 upline and 5 downline. That's a family. You'll have a family that you have. It's an upline, downline, and then as you put in more B&B, the number of people in your upline and downline given to you by Zeus is larger. So you can max out at 10 people upline and 10 people downline. And it is confusing because that's not the same as personal recruits.
And that's what is confusing because I'm like, what do you get from this upline and downline?
So well, supposedly 2.5%. You get 2.5% of whatever they make, but it's like a percentage of a percentage. It's not 2.5% of 100. It's like 2.5% of 93% divide by 50% or something
Oh,
crazy
wow.
like that. Yeah, all the numbers have a bunch of percentage by percentage by percentage. So it ends up being very
Not
little, as you'll see. Right. And what I found out was what was interesting was that I really believe that Tim probably created wallets because how's everyone going to get a downline, upline, right?
Yeah.
So because I had a lot that was point 0.1, but nothing was ever done. There was no withdrawals. They were in my upline, downline, but they didn't do anything. And so
Oh, so
I
they're closed
figured
account.
out that it was, yeah, that's what it was.
Mm. Well, that's
And
just not
it's just
cool. Are you ready for
crazy
the
to
next
me.
salt?
Yeah.
Next
Yeah,
slide?
let's go to the next one. And on this one, only thing I wanted to point out on this one is I think all the MLMs have this thing, right? The power of five, I guess. So
That
you
is an
recruit
MLM
five.
thing.
Yeah. So that's what he's doing there, showing the 10 levels and saying that if you get 10 levels, you'll be getting 64,000 B&B a week is your profit.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, I mean,
Not
not true.
overreaching at all.
Right, exactly. So 64,000 B&B, even with it being in such poor shape, that would be what, 6 million? I don't know, some millions of dollars a a, a week. Actually, it's a week here. Yeah. So yeah, and then only thing I just wanted to show the receipt that I paid $37 to get the hot leads.
That weren't so hot.
So, right. And so the next slide, I just wanted to show my investment. So what, I'm trying to be totally transparent and everything. Hopefully it'll help people so they don't make the mistake I did. And and so I spent $300 to join Zeus Bounty as a co-founder. I had to buy a BNB coin. And so I bought one. I could have just done point 0.1, but I was encouraged by Tim that you wanted to do one BNB.
Well, of
And
course, encourage
then,
that.
well, it's more money for him, is what it
Exactly.
is. He gets like 60%. I figured out about 60% of the money goes, I'm sorry, 40% of the money goes back to him at least. It could be more. So I put $937 plus time into this.
How
Plus,
much
I
time did you
recruited,
spend on it?
well, I probably spent, so I recruited a few people, and so my daughter did too. And so I had like 12 recruits. I had five, I think my daughter had seven. And so we had to actually help them to know how to put their contribution in. Most of them just did point 0.1,
Yeah.
and that's what we encouraged them to do. I said at the time, I said, I don't know if this will make you money, but you don't have to put more than point 0.1. I said, and I encouraged them, just put point 0.1 now, and then you can always add more later if you see that it's making money. And so,
Right.
so that's what I probably spent. I mean, it's not that easy to get money into a wallet, and then you got to tie it to Zeus Bounty and all that. So, I mean, I probably spent 40, 50, 60 hours working with folks on this. Plus, I put up a website at the time, or to help advertise it, and didn't really get any response. So yeah, I spent some time.
So in addition to the $937, you also spent money putting up this website too.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I know how to build a website, so it wasn't too much there. But yeah, it was probably $100 there. I forgot about that.
Are you ready for the next
So
slide?
yeah, yes. Go to the next slide. And so, only thing I wanted to point here was one of the things that was touted was, BNB is such a stable coin. It's been, it's the fourth largest coin and all that. And I just wanted to point out that, well, since I joined, it went from $622 a coin to $344. So it dropped 45%. And I know all the currencies have, but Bitcoin is probably, it's lost about 20% or so, but BNB's just lost a lot more.
And it's under
So that's all I
investigation.
wanted to point out. Yeah, in Texas you can't even buy it. You can't buy it through Binance. So I had to do it through a decentralized wallet that where I could get the BNB because you couldn't go to Binance and buy it.
Wow.
Because there's some sort of issue with the state of Texas where they're not going to allow it.
Oh, yay, Texas.
Yeah. And so the next slide, now this is what I wanted to show is my earnings. And so, I've made $156.57. And so the total bounty reap, that's what Zeus has given back to me. So every time your wallet, so you see here that the total, your current withdrawable amount is
Mhm.
0.01. Okay, so anytime you get to 0.03, you can make a withdrawal.
Okay.
And in my case, because I had 5 recruits, I got 50% of that money back, but 50% goes to Zeus. Actually, it's more like 46% goes to me, and 54% goes to Zeus.
So you
And
never
so
can
that's
just withdraw all your money. You have to always leave
that's
some
the
in.
problem. Right,
Yeah,
exactly. That's why I'm saying I don't know how to get out of it
right.
because my wallet's tied to Zeus. I guess what I could do is, what I could do is actually create another wallet and just transfer it all out. You know, I could do
They
that.
sure don't make it easy.
No, no, they don't. And so the next slide, you remember I'm saying I made $156.57. So
Right.
I actually had an upline of 8 people. That upline, and I just put down it's, basically the 7% admin fee, and then you get 50% of the withdrawal. So it's 50% of the 93%. And
Okay.
anyway, and it's all confusing. I mean, they
Yeah.
make it complex, the numbers,
Which
but
is typical.
yes, yeah. I made $16.29 on the upline, $40.16 on the downline, and then because I'm a co-founder, I've made $19. And then if you're a new member, you remember they tell you
Yeah,
get an
the
airdrop.
airdrops.
It was 43 cents.
Oh my Lord. They make it sound like airdrops are such a great, big, huge thing.
Right, exactly. And then if you start off with one BNB, you get a special airdrop. That was $2.86.
Oh boy. Can't even go to
And
McDonald's.
right. And what's weird is, and what's funny, a little bit funny and weird, is that most of the money I made, over half of it, was based on the very first withdrawal that I
Wow.
made. It's like everyone put in their money, and we were told to withdraw the money, right? To get
Yeah.
to get Zeus stimulated. He called it a stimulation. And so I made $77 like the first day based on that. So everyone made money the first day, and everyone was thinking, wow, maybe this thing is real.
Right.
Well, that was the best it ever was.
Wow.
And so the
Should I go to
next,
the next
let's
slide?
go. Yeah, let's go that. So,
Oops.
this is called the law of diminishing returns. So I've shown my last three withdrawals on the left. I showed the smart contract address. That's the whole Zeus smart contract that I'd shown on like the first slide or two. And anyway, it ended up in January. I made $149. And then February, it's been $6.87.
Oh, that
So
is
you
a significant drop.
exactly, and I think everyone's having that happen.
Yeah, because if you're not bringing people in at the bottom, they can't feed the
Hmm.
top.
Exactly, exactly. And then the next slide is just to tell you that what my net earnings are. So I'm in the red, nearly
Yeah,
$800.
you and a whole bunch of other people.
Yep, exactly. And some people a lot worse, as we'll see. Next slide is so that's everything about me, my experience, and everything. And so what I thought I would do, if you wanted to, it's just a couple of more slides. But this is kind of continuing the story from your last episode that you did about Zeus. So I was wanting to kind of let folks know what, from being
Yeah.
an insider, what's happening. So uh, we had on 115 a big mistake where basically Tim had accidentally sent everyone that was in Zeus, about 1,000 members at the time, 0.26 BNB by accident. So basically, it was money went into everyone's wallet, and 1,000 people actually withdrew that money. And so basically, Tim's saying, "Hey, you got to pay it back. We weren't supposed to give it to you." And
Wow.
so he's saying that the best way to bring your account back to a withdrawable amount is to refer someone. Referring others will fix this issue faster than anything else. And then he doesn't want anyone to send a support ticket for showing a zero balance. And so it's interesting to me that what I found out was that wallet, it's connected to Zeus, and at any point he could take out your money because he took out the
Wow.
money of those that didn't withdraw. Right? He took out the 0.26. That's why people had zero balance. And
Oh,
so the thing is, I didn't realize that in theory, let's say you had 50 BNB in there, he could take it all out because it's connected to his smart contract.
yeah.
It's smart for him.
Yeah. Wow.
So that was kind of scary. And what I did was I actually created, I don't have much in there, but I created another wallet and moved, most of it out because I don't want him to be able to,
Sure.
that's what a lot of the scammers do. They will actually run off with everyone's money.
Well, yeah, if they were controlling it all.
Yeah, and he's the only one. So yeah, I just wanted to point that out. And then the next slide. Oh, yeah. And then this is interesting. So supposedly we have all of this. We have a contract, smart contract, that's been audited.
Right.
I have no idea who in the world audited it. You know, maybe, who knows? Could be his dog,
Right.
And so, anyway, the point was the solution. The old contract was destroyed and a new contract was deployed. And look at the amount. So you remember where I made $149 in month
Yeah.
one and then $6 this month. Well, look what he says. Our team's been working nonstop for the past 6 days to correct the issue that happened during our airdrops. And then he said, we simply tried to give away too much money in too many different ways with the configuration we had set up. So he ended up changing out the contract. I have no clue if the numbers that he says is even true.
Right. Right.
He changed it. He destroyed the old contract. So the old contract's the one that I joined under. He destroyed it. He says he destroyed it. And
Who
a
knows if that's
contract
true?
that supposedly no one has access to, well, he does.
Wow.
Yeah. And then he's saying we simply tried to give away too much money in too many different ways with the configuration we set up. So,
I don't
and
believe that.
then, no, I don't either. And then the next slide is, so you're talking about the Zeus NFT?
I want you to answer what Angel says.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what could happen is everyone will bail and have to abandon their wallets, and Tim could just potentially profit off any of the money that's in the wallets. Is that it? Or any interest gained
Right.
on it?
Because, yeah, because he has control. So as part of that, whenever you are part of a smart contract, they call it a DApp, D-A-P-P, digital app. You connect to that digital app, okay, with your wallet. And so by doing that, Zeus has access to your wallet and any money that you have in that wallet. And yes, he could just take it out.
Wow.
It could be, you could wake up
And it's just
and
gone.
you have nothing in there. Mm-hmm.
That's scary.
Yes, right. And no one knows. I mean, and the thing is that it happens all the time. That's the typical scam that happens with these.
Yeah.
They take everyone's money and run. Usually in these scams, they don't use their name. They
Right.
usually use a pseudonym. Tim actually uses his name. I don't know if Bentley is his real last name, but I have no clue. But I didn't see much on Tim's background until he joined Helium, a program called Helium.
Right.
That's when I started seeing him online. Before that, supposedly he had a business in Arizona before he moved to Colorado and, did a bunch of stuff and made a bunch of money in his past. But I have no clue. Do you want to look at the NFT or?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Okay. So the NFT and all that is, and that's confusing too, but an NFT is, so think of BNB, Bitcoin, all that is like currency. Okay. An NFT stands for I think it means non-fungible
Yeah.
token. And so all that is, so instead of having like you have a pocket full of change, which is coins. Well, on this, it's like having a picture or a piece of music or having a house. So it's just one asset is what an NFT is. And so what they do is they basically give fractional ownership. And so what Tim's doing is he's trying to get 250 people to donate or to invest $1,000 each to be part of this NFT that's going to make all this money. And so people that join would have, part ownership on it. But then this was an email he had sent. And so there's problems with the NFT today. If you look at the update, it says on line 2, we parted ways with Strider Games and have hired a new team to develop our vision. And so Strider Games, I believe, was somewhere in India.
Yes.
And yeah, something happened there because they said they informed us last week we would be their last metaverse project and they're moving to private government work. And he's saying it didn't set well with him. So he jumped ship and hired new talent. And he's saying our chariots are going to be created one by one to be 100% original to us. And then saying something about an artist and all that. And then the next line is interesting. You will have to forgive our lack of transparency when it comes to showing what we've created thus far. We need to keep our art under wraps as to not be beat to market by some other team or be ripped off and imitated. But, he wants you to have faith in him.
That's what I was
give
going to say.
$1,000. But why couldn't he just do, like in my line of work, you do what's called an NDA, non-disclosure agreement? Why didn't he do that? So, the problem is you have no clue. It may be vaporware, may not even be real.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so that doesn't set well with me, that he wants you to invest $1,000 and then he won't even show you the artwork. He had this screenshot. I don't know what that is of the chariot, if that's part of the game or if he pulled it from somewhere. I have no clue. But also, I thought it was strange that Zeus, is the Greek god, and then somehow we're stuck in the Roman world. So I don't know.
The Zeus that he uses in the emails, that's actually like on Shutterstock.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
I did a reverse image search and I was like, well, not even original there. Way to go, Timmy.
Okay. Yeah. And then the next slide is, this next slide is interesting. So, we do have unhappy Zeusers. And one of the things I wanted to point out is it's very hard to get any evidence of unhappy Zeusers from our Facebook group because every message has to go through approval by Tim and Nicole before it's posted. Or I think he's got a couple other people that are moderators. And so every once in a while, something will slip through that they didn't mean to slip through. And so, you get the impression. So you have about 10 people in the group that just always touts how good Zeus is. They'll put these placards up, motivational type stuff.
Yep.
And then anyway, and so you see Russell Nordstrom saying, hey, where can I go to get my account looked at? He's been at zero balance since January 15th, and he contributed 0.419. So Nicole said, hey, you need to send a support ticket. So you have someone that keep on saying donate. I feel like it's a donation because you're not getting anything back. So.
Right.
So anyway, so that was the one. And the second one, this person, I can't even pronounce the name, but this is sad though. So, hi Nicole, saw this when I tried to log in today. And so what it was talking about was they're making you agree to new terms of service.
Okay.
And so basically saying that, hey, we're a software company, which isn't true, but that's what they're doing to try to say that they're not a Ponzi.
Right.
They're saying, so anyway, this person joined and said, what I don't understand when I joined my 10 BNB is that I think saying now lose it, that's an investment. Reading this now is clear that when I joined, it's no longer mine, which is true. That's gone, except the perks I got with it. 4 extra upline and downline, and 70% going to my wallet instead of 30 to 50% with 4 paid referrals. So basically saying when you join with 10 B&B, you get more benefits. And then this person's saying, well, if I'd known all of this stuff, I wouldn't have put in more than 1 B&B. And so she's saying, what's my option to make sure I can get my money back? So this person put in over $5,500 into this and lost it. Basically it's not hers. And
That is heartbreaking.
Yes. And then now Nicole's saying there's always been 2 ways to use our membership, either software usage only, or you earn at the pace your 20 up and downline perform, or as a business builder where you share the membership with others. I'm sorry you thought this was some kind of an investment, as this was never how the program was created. But that's not true, that we were told to, after the fact. So this is what's bothering me now, is that, all this is happening and they're changing the program and trying to say, oh, now it's like they're saying, now we're trying to be legit. They're still not. And plus, where's the $500,000 they already took? So, that I just wanted to point those out. And then the next slide. Oh, yeah, the next slide is saying, hey, we're a software company. And this is interesting. I can't believe Nicole actually said this openly in the group. Taking all suggestions from the attorneys to keep us in compliance, there are 2 tests that we have to pass in order to be compliant. So far, we're in compliance with everything, but there's some shades of gray that our attorneys are recommending we clear up. One of the biggest items is how the FTC describes a pyramid scheme, which is why we've been working so hard to drive home the point of the value of the membership program lies in the software and not the money-making portion. But everything's about the money-making portion and recruiting people.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And I just don't. Yeah. And then these are the updated terms. This is what we have to sign now. And you know what? You cannot access your wallet until you check mark this.
Wow.
You cannot access your wallet hostage. Yes. And so they're saying now that my contribution to Zeus Bounty is not an investment, even though supposedly we're part owners.
Right.
It's true, but. And then I understand I'm purchasing a membership to gain access to first tier paid ZB suite of softwares. That's kind of an unusual term, but I think what it is there's a free version of this software that Raj is the one that's made all this. Apparently Raj has been in like 100 different MLM things or something. I don't know. Supposedly he's been in 100 different scams or something, but he's a software developer. And then he said, then it's saying there that the program's executed in a smart contract on the blockchain and is irreversible, whatever that means. And then you have to give your name and email address.
And you're signing away and saying, yes, I understand. And
I don't know if that really protects them or not. I wouldn't think so.
I don't think that it will do that much. It's an illusion to, what, for people to think like, oh, I can't speak or I can't say anything. I have signed this terms of service, but I don't think that would.
Yeah, and she even says that. Nicole even says that. Here's the pop-up that all members will see when logging into their .io. That's their dashboard. where your
Okay.
wallet is. If your name and email is blank, you can fill that out, and hopefully we'll get rid of some of those nulls in your reports. I don't know what that means. Once you agree to the terms, you'll be able to get to your dashboard, and you shouldn't see it again. Yeah, you can't,
Wow.
without doing that, you can't access your wallet. You can't get to your money. So they're saying you got to sign, we need you to sign this. And if you don't, you can't get your money. But if you want your money, you're going to sign it. It just feels like it's being forced.
Yeah.
I don't see how that could be legal to me.
Interesting.
Yeah. And then finally, the last couple of slides, I just wanted to say that, and this is just a recap. So Zeus Bounty is a flawed business model, and so many lies and mistruths. And so, I talked about this before. He said he's going to do all this online advertising to gain new members and give each founder and co-founder 100 direct referrals. That didn't happen. They're saying we're owners in Zeus Bounty. That's not true. As you can see, that Bryonics is the owner, and they're not in compliance with Colorado laws because their articles of incorporation expired or were revoked. Not sure what
Well, their whole
happened.
NFT game is nothing but more than gambling,
Yeah, exactly. And I found out that there's a company that OpenSea, that most of the NFTs are built on a company's platform called OpenSea, so
Yeah.
OpenSEA.
Yeah, we looked at
And they
that.
said, and you saw that they said that over 80% of these NFTs are scams, and that over 95% of them won't make any money.
Wow.
And that's from the company that actually provides
Makes
the
them.
service
Yeah.
of building this. Just crazy. And the only thing, number 4, is just showing that Zeus's growth has really slowed down. And then 5 is just saying what we talked about, the smart contract and how Tim has taken money out of members' wallets when too much BNB was given out. And he also destroyed the original smart contract. And then on the next slide, this was another thing, the software. We were told when we joined it was good for life. So if you put 0.1 in, it would be good for life. That's your initial
Right.
BNB. But it's not true, because then there was a new email that came out, and I'll try to get that to you. I just wasn't able to for this presentation. But members must give 0.2 BNB to keep access to the software each year. So you have to pay. And probably their attorneys are telling them that you got to make people pay for the software. I don't know, but that's one thing. And then 7, we were told that you didn't have to recruit to make money, and that Zeus Bounty's passive income, and that's not true. And you only make money if you continue to recruit more people.
Right.
So even with a downline of 12, I only got $6 in the month of February.
Again, you can't even go to McDonald's.
Right. And number 8's what we talked about with the Zeus chariots. It's not an excellent investment opportunity. It's not a good program. That's 9. So what I think is the presentation that's made by Tim's purposely vague and overcomplicated.
Absolutely.
And then the airdrops and rewards are given out on a percentage of percentage. And then the final one is that Zeus Bounty's not a pyramid. Well, that's not true. The money dries up when there's not any new members. Also, Tim's getting about 40% of the BNB generated because, And then only a few of his direct referrals had made any money, and it started to dry up in February. And the attorneys obviously have issues with the program. And I know for a fact that people I recruited that put in point one, which was maybe $50 at the time, they've maybe made $8 or $9 total.
Oh
They're
boy,
not, yeah, they're not getting
not
much. And
thrilled with
then,
that.
right. And then the very last slide is, so Zeus talks about reaping rewards for everyone. Well, I think Tim's the one that's gotten rewards. And so what I'm showing here is what I know about the revenue. So 20,000 on the founders entry fees, 35,000 on the co-founders entry fees. I took in consideration the commissions that he paid out,
Uh-huh.
and then 515,000 to date from Zeus Bounty, and then the Zeus chariots, he's 94,000. And so just wanted to end with the, you know, while most of us haven't hardly made anything on it, Tim's got about 664,000 in 2 months. So been a pretty good investment for him.
Yeah, it's been good for him, but sucks for everyone else.
Yes. Yep. So
Wow.
yeah, so that's my story.
Well, I know when you contacted me and you told me about this, you did say like for you basically you can kind of absorb this loss. I mean, nobody likes to lose out, of course, but
Right.
there are other people, and like the person that you shared that invested over $5,500 that
Yes.
they can't really afford to have just pissed that money away. And
No. No. And I think they're confused. I think honestly, I've heard people talk about it. When they got into Zeus, they thought they were getting money. What they really thought was that Zeus was like a minor of BNB,
okay,
and
yeah,
that was just giving them money, and that we were all this big group, and we were getting money from Zeus mining. They didn't realize that was from us having to contribute, and that was this pyramid scheme. I think a
oh,
lot of people, because it's so complicated, because there's a lot of double speak in Tim's presentations.
right, yeah. Well, the only person making bank is Timmy sitting on top of
Yeah.
that pile. I mean,
Yep.
the only way people do make even anything from the airdrops, how little that is if other people are coming in and contributing. As soon as they stop contributing,
Exactly.
there's nothing.
Yep. And it can end even if you had a couple of hundred people in month one and none of them recruited and you didn't recruit in month two, it would dry up. There's no continual money coming in.
Yeah. Wow. Well, I found all of this interesting, and I thank you so much for your willingness to speak out about
Sure.
this and, you know, keep us informed. And I do think that it'll be
Definitely.
interesting to watch what happens, especially if he's sending out, any emails about stuff,
Right.
you know. That's everything that you've given is, evidence of what is happening. And,
Yes.
you know, I think I told you before we came on air and everything, when this crumbles, and I believe it will, and hopefully sooner rather than later, Tim will go on to create something else. He will take lessons learned, create something else, or he'll join something else because that's what
Yes.
these people do. They don't stop, you know.
Correct.
And Scam Chan, I would agree with you. Seems like Tim did the math where he makes bank no matter what happens, and that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I spent a lot of time researching it because, I wanted the audience to see everything in black and white. I didn't want them to think, hey, I had sour grapes, or, I'm just upset because I couldn't make money on it, but I just wanted to paint the reality of it.
Yeah, and I appreciate that so very much.
Sure.
So yeah, we will probably look at the most recent opportunity, in the next couple of days or so.
Mm-hmm.
And if you would like to come back and like look at it with me, that would be fantastic
Sure.
because I think that you could,
Sure.
add insight into that.
Sure.
And maybe we can do that at the beginning of next week or something.
Of
Because
course.
tomorrow I'm planning on, unless tomorrow it works for you to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, I could
Yeah.
do any time, whatever's good for you.
Okay. Okay. Well, we'll figure it out. But I do want to let my listeners and lurkers and people know that the next thing coming up for on passive, because you guys know we cover a lot of on passive on this channel. It is I believe, the first time Ash speaks about launch, and this is in 2018. So I just think it'll be interesting to hear all of that. And I also want to remind people that on Sunday, Douglas Brooks, who is an attorney, and Dr. William Keep, who is a marketing professor, will be back to talk about, how to make a comment to the FTC about the deceptive earnings claims. And, like if the FTC is going to make a rule on that. So we will be having an opportunity to, ask them things about it. I have some questions. You may have some questions, and they'll be able to give us some good guidance on that. And I always appreciate when either of them can be here. And I was let's see, what I talked to Robert. Okay. Oh, Robert Fitzpatrick is going to be on March 20th because I asked him to come on and talk about it because he has kind of a different stance on it than Bill does and didn't want to dilute Bill's message. So, we all play nice together and all of that. Anyway, I want to say tonight, no, Dante, there is no on passive tonight. This has been a Zeus's Bounty night. I want to say thank you so very much to my mods. Thank you so very much to my lurkers. Thank you for participating in the chat. And Brian, if you can just hang on for a moment as I close this out,
Sure.
we'll have a little chit chat too. Thank you,
Very good.
everyone. Have a wonderful rest of your evening, and we'll be back tomorrow. It's either we're going to do the Zeus's Bounty or we're going to do the unpassive. Well, let me actually ask you guys because, I'm here for you. Which would you rather do tomorrow? Would you rather do Zeus or would you rather do on passive? So somebody let me know in the chat which you would prefer us to cover tomorrow because, we're obviously going to do both of them. It's just like in what order would you like it? Because I aim to please. What can I say? When it comes to these scams, keep exposing them and talking about them. And I mean, I really am so very, very, very grateful that you are willing to speak out because it takes courage to do that. And so often people just want to kind of like, slink away into that good night, which I understand. I absolutely understand. But we just, need people to speak out. So it looks like people are saying that they want to hear Zeus. So yeah, let's do. Oh, did I put the wrong person in timeout? Because I'm getting this crappy thing. If I put somebody else in timeout, I'm sorry, because this Jennifer Flynn person with this stupid thing that they put up there, you're not welcomed here. It looks like people want to talk about Zeus's bounty. So yeah, we'll do Zeus. So
Yeah,
anyway,
that'd be great.
so if you can make it back tomorrow, Brian, we'll do that.
Sure.
Okay.
I can do
Um,
that, definitely.
Sounds good. All right, everyone, have a wonderful rest of your evening. And don't forget, you are beautiful and I love you. Good night.